Oh, hurting for our guys right now. Obviously disappointed in the result. I feel like we had a football team that was certainly prepared to come into a difficult place to play against a good Nebraska team and put ourselves in a situation to win a football game. Game didn't start off the way that we wanted to. Second half didn't start off the way that we wanted to. But ultimately, there's no doubt in my mind that our team showed their true colors today. They continued to fight, continued to battle, positioned ourselves, to tie the game up and have an opportunity to go win a football game on the road in the Big Ten. We knew special teams would play a critical role, in the outcome of this game. Pretty neutral for most of the day, other than, Nebraska's kickoff return for a touchdown at the beginning of the half, huge momentum swing. Something that we're going to have to evaluate everything that we're doing there. We knew that return, Nebraska's return game was dangerous, and that showed up. Proud of the way that our guys battled. There's going to be plenty to clean up. I thought that we ran the ball effectively today. We got to continue to find ways to use the turnover battle to be something that creates advantage for the Cats, just not being neutral. And as a program, we're going to have to respond. This one's going to sting for a while, or has the potential to sting for a while going into a bye week, and we can't allow that to happen. Focus on the things that we can control, daily improvement, and position ourselves to be at our best for a road matchup with USC.
Coach, Preston had multiple turnovers today. How do you assess his
play? Much easier to evaluate it when we look at it on tape. I think the first interception, he's scrambling, extending a play, sees Griff open. Would love to see him just take off, slide, take 4 or 5 yards. But Griff was open. He's not forcing anything. It ends up resulting in a tip pass that kid makes a nice play. And not sure exactly what happened on the second one. I mean, the thing that I'm going to have to do a really good job with our football team, man, what a swing of momentum and emotions there in the fourth quarter. We're in a position to in field goal range to worst case scenario, go kick a field goal, run play. Martez Lewis is out there battling his butt off, finishes a guy on his back. Subjective call, like at the end of the day, officials have got a hard job. You can't whine about the call, but you go from, going up a touchdown to all of a sudden 10 yards back, you're out of field goal range, and it ends up resulting in an interception. And then our defense has a chance to get off the field, and had multiple third and longs where we weren't able to get off the field. I thought Preston put our guys in a great situation. The 2-minute drill, drove down the field. Ultimately, weren't able to finish. Preston, I thought, showed up exactly who he is. He's a competitor. He's a winner. And ultimately, I'm sure he'll evaluate the film, and we'll evaluate the film and see where, if there's areas he can do a better job of evaluating the football, then we'll address that.
And as a follow-up, at this 8-game point of the season, you're 2/3 in. You've won 5 games when he doesn't throw 2 interceptions. When he throws 2 or more, you've lost all 3. How do you evaluate him on the season in that sense?
Damn. I mean, I evaluate him as a winner and a competitor. We're not 5. I mean, I love Ryan Bowe. I love our quarterback room. I'm excited about the future of that room. But ultimately, we're not 5-3 right now without Preston Stone. Period. And at the end of the day, you got to be really selective as a coach. We talk about it every week. How do we win games? What's our formula? Win the rushing battle, win the turnover battle. That's where it starts. Today it was, we evened out. It was neutral on the turnover battle. My evaluation of Preston is he forcing things? If he's forcing things, that's not okay. But the dialogue can't be hey man, don't throw interceptions. That, talk about negative talk. That's the worst sports psychology ever. At the end of the day, trust your process and don't force it. You got a really good team around you. You got really good wide receivers. Some of the competitive catches we're seeing out of Hayden Elegant and Hunter Welsing there on that last drive. We'll evaluate it. I mean, he'll evaluate it more critically than anybody. I know that for sure. And ultimately, I know we got a winner at quarterback, and he's going to put us in a position to win a lot more games.
It looked to me like tackling was an issue today. Probably missed more tackling than he had this season.
Good back, and we can do a better job running our feet. I think some of those early missed tackles, you can see our guys at the end, their feet are dying. We got to activate our feet through contact. Even the pile getting pushed a little bit early in the game, that's not who we are as a defense. Coach McGarvey will address that with our guys. But you got to tip your hat to Nebraska as well. I mean, Emmett's a really good player. Tough to tackle, and we got to do a better job of running our feet through contact.
Coach Nebraska had just 2 drives of 9+ plays. It was their first touchdown drive and then the last touchdown drive. What were they able to do on those drives to extend out and get longer possessions?
Yeah, that first drive at the end of the day, I think they had a good plan with their openers. There was an RPO there that was a unique look that led, whether it was an explosive play or not, I'm not sure, but was a form of a chunk play. And at the end of the day, I thought they did a really good job on that first drive. Ultimately, the last drive is like, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it was 3 third and longs. I mean, those are scenarios as a defense that we expect and have to get off the field if we're going to play winning football.
You had those 2 drives in the first half. You got into the red zone down there. One time down to the 10, you settled for field goals. How big was that in terms of the game?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, you're going in at halftime 7-6, and same score that Nebraska was in, Minnesota a week ago. We'll talk about it and message it. When we cross the 35-yard line as an offense, the expectation is to come away with touchdowns. But ultimately, we're not going to risk the opportunity for points, on 4th and long and get reckless with it. But ultimately, it's something we got to continue to focus on, continue to emphasize and practice, create competitive environments where we're at our best on both sides of the ball in that area of the field.
It seemed like after almost every play in the second half, there were some extracurriculars going on after the whistle. How do you balance playing with an edge while maintaining the discipline that at times they
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to be the most physical, edged-up team, chip on our shoulder, tough group in the country. But the second that it affects your ability to focus pre-snap and take a breath and be poised on executing, and the second that it starts to show up, post-whistle, like completely not tolerated. Part of our formula is being a disciplined football team, and we won't beat ourselves. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we did have one unsportsmanlike that was offsetting. Other than that, I think we were pretty clean in terms of post-snap penalties. But it's an emotional game, and if you can control your emotions and keep it in between the whistles and in between the white lines, you're going to position yourself for success. It has to be who we are, and opportunity to evaluate on film if that standard's slipping at all.
A few more, Matt. Coach, you mentioned importance of special teams. So I know you're on the sidelines, you don't have the overhead view, but what do you see as the breakdown of the kickoff return at the start of the third quarter?
Yeah, we got 2 guys that ultimately to the field that are engaged before the indicator on the kickoff return shows up. Get pinned inside, really struggle to get off a block, and we lose leverage. We lose contain on the ball. Again, we got guys on all our special teams right now that are bringing a ton of value and a ton of effort. Ultimately, it'll be an opportunity for all of us to evaluate, are there areas in scheme that we can improve? Are there areas in techniques that we can improve? There's some personnel decisions that we got to make and make sure we got the right people in the right places. But ultimately, good call by Nebraska, having a return back out to the field. Paul Creighton had an idea to mix up the kick on that kickoff. Nicky, who handled kickoffs for us today, it's his first game back. Ultimately, we made the decision to not, in hindsight, I wish I would have, encouraged Paul and would have supported Paul in going with his gut and mix up the kick and try and get them out of rhythm. That's one that will eat at me for a while, Matt.
With the bye week coming up, are there anything in particular you're looking to shore up on either side of the ball, or just team-wide?
Yeah, I think ultimately we got to find this really the right mix of continue to challenge our team to improve and get ourselves back to full health, especially with some guys dinged up that we'll know more about here in the next 24 hours. I think it is a great opportunity for us to really evaluate everything that we're doing, in the red zone area and position ourselves to And when I say that, not just like Coach Lujan and Coach McGargle, I'm talking about like strategy-wise and planning and like everything that we're doing to maximize our opportunities when we get the ball in that area of the field of turning it into touchdowns.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everyone.
Caleb, tough emotional situation where you don't have that touchdown when it gets called back by a holding penalty. How difficult is it to go through that, the emotional swing on that possession?
I mean, it is what it is. It's a next play mentality. It's part of the game. That's not in our hands. So it goes back to what Coach Braun teaches us every day in the locker room, what he preaches in meetings, the next play mentality. So it was all about the next play for us.
For that 56-yard touchdown, it seemed like you broke into the clear with like 40 to go, and you could hear a pin drop. I mean, did you feel that at all?
I was just running.
To that point about just running, this is a career high for you with 125 yards. How do you feel you continue to improve the season, and what does that benchmark mean to you?
I mean, getting better every week. It's a 1% better mentality that I have. It goes back to, what the drills we're doing in practice, the opportunities I get, the extra film study. But ultimately, it's a winning mentality for me. So I feel like this isn't my best game. We lost, so.
Felt like throughout the game there was always a lot of, even after the whistle, talking, extra contact. Were you guys expecting us to be that level of chippiness in this environment?
I mean, football is football. It's a physical game. So whether it's there, whether it's present or not, it's always expected to happen. It's part of the game. So it's just about getting back to the huddle and getting to the next play.
A few different times, both at the end of the first half and then the beginning of the second, you got dinged up a little bit, entering the penalties, and just exiting the game. How are you feeling? What happened at some of those points?
Yeah, just bumps and bruises, but I'll be all right. Yeah, nothing serious.
You're the only sack of Northwestern today. Nebraska was sacked 9 times in their previous game. What did you feel like was the difference between what you guys were seeing on tape in that game and today's production?
Yeah, when we watched the Minnesota game, they were blitzing a lot more, and the quarterback was holding on to the ball a little longer. Today, it seemed like they were trying to get the ball out quicker to avoid some of that pressure.
Well, it looked to me like you guys were missing a lot of tackles today, kind of very uncharacteristic for the season.
Mm-hmm.
You attribute that to anything?
I'm not really sure what it was, but we got to clean it up as a whole defense.
Anything else? Matt?
Or just in general, when you did have that sack on right over, really great move. What was kind of your process going into that play, and what did you think on being able to execute?
Yeah, when we watched film this week, we saw that their tackles struggled against power rushes, so that's what Coach Smith was preaching to us all week, and I was able to get home with it, so it felt pretty good.
Thanks, Aidan.
Thank you, guys.